Hi there, this is Jenny Walker from DigiGoods and Printables ELA. Welcome to Argumentative Essay Writing, segment number 8, the conclusion paragraph. Here's what you need to know. The conclusion is the last paragraph in an essay. Conclusions can be a little bit difficult to write because you have to say what you've already said without sounding repetitive. Because conclusions are simply summing up everything that you've said well, not everything, but the key points of what you've said in your essay. Number 3, never add new information in the conclusion. This would be confusing to the reader. All of the information and evidence will be presented in the body. Number 4, and this is my best tip ever. You will sound like a pro if your last sentence ties in your hook. That way, you begin your essay with the hook, and then you make a reference to your hook in the very last sentence. Don't worry, I'll show you how. Okay, a word about conclusion. Conclusion paragraphs are very important. Many people hate to write these, and they don't feel like they're important, but they are. Your essay would sound strange without it. Think of the conclusion as the final opportunity to sell your audience on your argument. Have you ever watched a court case on TV? The lawyer gives a compelling closing argument that convinces the jury to remember and agree with everything that she said during the trial. However, she would never introduce new information in the closing argument, but rather just reiterate the key points and tell the jury what they need to do, pose a solution. Here are the elements you should include in a conclusion. You'll restate your thesis in a freshly worded way. That's very important. Remember, I told you everything in your essay is centered around the thesis statement. That includes the conclusion. Sum up the strongest points. Pose a solution if possible. This doesn't work with every topic, but if you can, this is a good thing to do. And then last, bring the hook full circle by referring to that hook somehow in a creative way as your very last sentence. Don't forget to watch this great schmoop video on how to write a conclusion killer paragraph. I promise you'll enjoy this video. All right, steps to a killer conclusion. Restate your thesis, but in a new way. It is not okay to repeat your thesis. It might help to use a thesaurus to find synonyms for keywords. Summarize your major points. Do this by summarizing the main points of your topic sentences from the body paragraphs in 2 or 3 sentences. Do not simply rewrite them. You must find a way to say it freshly. And remember, no new evidence. Number 3, explain the significance of your points. Why do they matter? Imagine that after you present your argument, someone says, "So what?" Well, you need to convince them why it's important. And then revisit the theme of the hook. Look for the bigger picture of the themes to connect. Here's an important note. There's no correct or incorrect order for the elements of a conclusion paragraph. It's a matter of style. However, it's often most powerful to revisit the theme of the hook and make the big picture connection your last sentence. Here's an example. Imagine that this were the thesis statement. I'm going to restate it down here. Notice that it will be worded very differently so that it doesn't sound too much like the thesis statement. Here's the thesis. School uniforms have been shown to improve academic achievement in students and also help alleviate bullying. Therefore, all public schools should take the smart route and require students to wear them. Here it is restated for the conclusion. With all the evidence that points to the safety benefits of requiring school uniforms, it would simply be irresponsible for school districts to ignore this obvious solution. Here is the tricky thing about writing a conclusion. It's all about tone, and there's no real way to tell you exactly how to do that, except that you have to make your writing sound like an exit. This restatement sounds like I'm wrapping it up, and it's just a matter of style. It's probably the most difficult thing to teach because there's no real way to tell somebody how to have style. It's a matter of reading a lot and hearing it, and then you start to develop your own style. But I can guide you and help you to do that. So here is a blank page for you to paste your thesis and then work on restating it. Think about how can you say it in a way that sounds like you're leaving, sounds like you're exiting the essay. Make it sound as if you're concluding, because that's what a conclusion is. Here is your slide to summarize some of your key points. Again, it's difficult. I won't pretend that it's not difficult to say things in a way that sound completely different. And then posing a solution, and it won't apply to every topic. Same thesis statement. Here is the solution that I'm going to pose that I posed in my conclusion. School uniforms can be a reality for all schools. Schools struggling financially could even apply for grants to help purchase school uniforms. So you see, I'm calling to action my reader. I'm telling them what they can do about it. And you should try to do that in your essay as well. Here's your turn. Can you anticipate a problem that could arise with your topic and propose a solution? You need to be able to think ahead about the concerns of your audience and show that the problems are solvable. So what solution can you pose, and how can you call your audience to action? That's a very powerful part of the conclusion. And last but not least, revisiting the theme of the big idea rounds out your essay. It brings back that hook, that great hook that you created that sounds so amazing and makes your reader want to read more. Revisiting that hook ties it all together. So it's like, imagine one big circle that finishes out full circle. Here's an example of how I did it. Here's the hook in the essay that I wrote. One of the biggest concerns in schools today is declining academic achievement. Another grave concern is students being harassed and harmed by other students. But what if one simple solution could address both of these concerns? So imagine that's the beginning of my essay, and this is the very last thing I say. If bullying and low achievement can be addressed with one solution, who could say no? Can you revisit your hook? Here's a slide that allows you to paste your hook right here. And then think about how you can tie this in, how you can bring it around again and sound like you're exiting, like you're finishing up. Here's some conclusion starters that you can steal. You can borrow these for your own essays to make it sound like the end of the essay. So here's number one. The unquestionable conclusion can be drawn that blah, blah, blah. Fill in your information. Considering the overwhelming evidence, the clear conclusion is to blah, blah, blah. On a final note, in conclusion, and so on. Maybe none of these will work for your essay. Maybe you have a better conclusion. But here's the starting point for you to jump to. Again, this slide is optional. This slide allows you to outline your thoughts and get them all separated. But if you don't need to do that, you can simply skip this slide and go straight to writing your conclusion paragraph with this guide along the side that helps you. Remember, these are in no particular order, except this should definitely be the last sentence. And that concludes your final paragraph. Congratulations, you have made it through your whole essay when you finish this paragraph. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to put it all together. Now that you've done all of the hard work, all you have to do is put it together. And in the next video, we also will analyze a full essay that I have written, and we will look at all of the different parts. If you started this workshop with analyzing all of the parts of the essay where you had to slide the elements over and identify all the pieces, stay tuned because the answers are coming up next. And teachers, make sure to follow me on Teachers Pay Teachers, where you can get freebies and alerts for 50% off sales. And then follow me on Facebook, where we discuss all things digital learning. See you next time.